In this film, we follow the story of sin and temptation incarnated as a woman, Elvira, the Mistress of the Dark. She is a TV host for a horror movie show on a Los Angeles network. As you can imagine, she's not very respected within the station, so much so that as soon as she finishes her program, the team is already moving on to the next one. But we know that nothing is so bad that it can't get worse, and Elvira decides to leave her job after being sexually harassed by the new owner of the TV station. Enraged by the disrespect, Elvira talks to her agent and says that she plans to open her own show in Las Vegas, but she needs $50,000 for the project. The agent then gives her a letter in which Elvira discovers the death of her great-aunt Morgana, and that she must be present at the reading of the old woman's will, as she is a beneficiary. After all, it could be good money, and this could guarantee that Elvira will be able to produce her show in Las Vegas. Elvira then travels with her not-so-powerful car to Falwell, a city in Massachusetts, the total opposite of Los Angeles. Halfway there, Elvira has to stop to fill up her car at a self-service gas station. Self-service, and thus having to do it herself, bothers her, and she tells the owner that it will one day end up killing him. In the next scene, we see the gas station exploding in the distance after the bomb hose falls from the ground and a cigarette lights the fuel. Elvira then arrives to read the will, and we discover that her great-uncle, Vincent, is also present and, as he believes he is Morgana's only living relative, will have the right to all of her assets. To her surprise and chagrin, Elvira appears, but the share of the inheritance Elvira receives is just a crumbling mansion, a cookbook, and Morgana's pet poodle, Algonquin. Vincent is furious when he discovers this. Elvira is disappointed because not only did her car break down when she arrived in such backwaters and she had to stay there for several days to fix it, but she didn't inherit any money. In Falwell, Elvira's worldly attitude and revealing and scandalous clothes generate disapproval from the city's conservative council of good morals, but theater operator Bob Redding becomes friends with her. We note that he is the typical hunk with a good heart. The city's teenagers quickly accept her, firstly, because she arouses the carnal interest of the city's virgin boys, and also because of her warm and welcoming personality. This is unacceptable for the parents of these teenagers, who consider Elvira a bad influence. The council then does everything to prevent Elvira from being accepted into the city, prohibiting teenagers from being seen with her, with the risk of punishment. The bowling alley owner, Patty, is interested in Bob, and, during Elvira's horror film festival at night at Bob's Theater, she arranges a way to humiliate Elvira during her Flashdance-inspired performance. Instead of water, Elvira receives a nice shower of tar at the end of the performance. Elvira struggles to sell her house so she can leave for Las Vegas. Meanwhile, she has no idea that her seemingly harmless and strict uncle, Vincent Talbot, is actually a sorcerer obsessed with obtaining Morgana's spellbook. He offers Elvira $50 for the book. When he visits Morgana's house to buy it from Elvira, Algonquin hides it, much to Vincent's chagrin. He plans to kill Elvira and conquer the world, so he fuels the hostility of the city's residents. He doesn't have to put in much effort for that, of course. Elvira tries to impress Bob with a romantic homemade dinner, but mistakes the spell book for a recipe book. Looking for a recipe, she makes a casserole with her Aunt Morgana's atypical ingredients and ends up summoning a creature that attacks them when they open the casserole pot. Elvira discovers that the recipe book was actually her mother, Devanna's spell book, and that Morgana hid it as a baby to protect her from Vincent. When Elvira tries to release the creature against the Morality Club at their picnic in search of revenge, she makes a mistake in preparing the potion, which has an aphrodisiac effect. The adults begin to behave sexually, dancing and taking off their clothes while Elvira watches closely. She is approached by Vincent, who once again offers to buy the book for a much higher price, but this time, Elvira refuses to sell it. When Patty confronts Elvira, the fight ends with an embarrassed Patty revealing that her bra is padding. Vincent leads the townspeople in arresting Elvira for witchcraft, still illegal in the state under an old law. They decide to burn her at the stake. The teenagers try to free her from prison, but fail miserably and accidentally fall into a different cell. Bob tries to retrieve the spell book from the mansion, but is tied up by Vincent and his henchmen, who take the book. Algonquin turns into a mouse and releases Bob by chewing the strings. Elvira is then tied to a stake, and the fire is lit, but she uses Morgana's ring to summon a storm that puts out the flames. So she escapes with Bob. At the mansion, Elvira and Vincent fight a magical battle that sets the house on fire. Elvira sends Vincent to the underworld, while the house and all magical artifacts are destroyed. The next day, Elvira prepares to leave the city. The residents apologize for their behavior and ask Elvira to stay. But as she is homeless, she insists that she needs to leave. As her only living relative, Elvira inherited Vincent's estate, allowing her to open her show in Las Vegas, where she performs a lavishly produced musical number.